Today, I'm going to be talking about something that is going to be extremely important for you guys, a topic that a lot of people ask me about, and that is what makes a property actually work for midterm rentals. And most people pick the wrong property for midterm rentals. It's not Airbnb, and I'm going to talk to you guys about what actually works in the midterm rental space today. So I'm going to be breaking this down for you guys in detail, how to actually figure out if you're in a right property or there's things that are going to only matter. There's 4 things that are going to matter specifically when you're renting or arbitraging or buying a property, or you may already own a property that you want to turn into a midterm rental. Location. This is one of the first things that I look at before I'm buying a midterm rental. I actually will look near a hospital, and typically I like to have a property that is in a mile or 2 or 3 mile radius of hospitals, because what do hospitals have? A ton of jobs that a lot of clinicians come work at, doctors. It's important for you guys to pay attention to level 1 and level 2 hospitals. Level 1 hospitals and level 2, they basically have really high acuity patients that have, if somebody gets in a bad car wreck or burns, they're able to go to these level 1 or level 2 hospitals, and typically they'll have a doctor that's on site, like a neurosurgeon or somebody that's readily available to go in and help on call in some of these types of places. That's what I consider a level 1, level 2 hospital. Level 3, level 4, and level 5 are more of your rural hospitals. They typically don't have as many patients, and they definitely don't have high acuity. I like to look between level 1 and level 2s because there's more opportunity in those spaces. And one of the other things that I look at is schools, colleges, campuses that have either junior college or state colleges, which I think state colleges are a little bit better. So if you are going to be searching for a property, you definitely want to make sure that you're paying attention to those things. One of my biggest pieces of advice, because I've actually done this myself and it was a bad move, and I've talked to other people that have been in these situations, is do not chase vacation spots. They are not usually the best for midterm rentals. And what I mean by that is, like, the prices are super high. People that are going there don't want to pay $7, $8, $9, $10,000 for 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom. I'm talking like a small next to the beach kind of place. So those are a little bit more difficult. I do still believe there's a higher end client that is looking specifically for that. Location, again, right? That's going to be super, super important. There's a lot of infrastructure that's happening right now, especially in the data centers that are being built all across the US right now. Those are great areas to either buy in, arbitrage in, because there's a massive potential for jobs, and we're seeing this all over the place. But again, do not chase vacation spots. I learned this the hard way, although one of my properties did end up turning into a fantastic midterm rental in a vacation market, but it took a ton of work. It literally took me a couple years to even get it stabilized, and thankfully enough, I have the funds to support that, but it's very, very difficult sometimes to operate a midterm rental in a vacation destination area. My number 2 thing is layout. Very, very important. I personally love 3-bedroom, 2-bath or better because I typically like to serve more clients. Anybody who loses their home due to a fire or flood or the insurance claims that we talk about, the average home in the United States is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. If I'm serving those types of clients, I probably want to get a property like that. Today, I just got off a phone call with a current client of mine who is having some major problems. She did not understand her market before she ended up picking up a studio. She ended up renting multiple different studios in a complex. Her market doesn't tolerate studios. There's not enough individual operators that are coming there, people that are working on assignment, to come stay at her place. She didn't do enough background information before she bought that property. She didn't go look and see what's happening in that market. She didn't go see what kind of clients are coming there. So the layout of the property is going to be very, very important. Sometimes you'll find really cool deals on properties that are funky layouts, like where you walk into a bedroom from the front door, something that's kind of off. You might get a good deal on that, but a lot of the times those don't work as the best properties, especially if you're having folks come into this that are working, at a job site, and they're coming home and they're literally walking through somebody's bedroom at first. So you want to be very thoughtful on the type of property that you get, especially the layout. What's really important for me is I like to have a desk, a space for multiple different desks in my properties, and parking. Parking is a big deal, you guys. I house a lot of construction workers, and I like to have property that'll actually allow them to park their work trucks that cost thousands of dollars worth of material that are in the back of those trucks in a secure space. That's going to be important to them. I think it's incredibly important to make sure that you have a fenced backyard. I also make sure that anytime I buy anything, that I have something in a fenced backyard, because that is important. People want to have a spot where they can bring their pets. Another thing that I do, I always make sure that I have a bath, like an actual bath in my property, not just like walk-in showers, an actual bathtub. I've lost many deals because I took the bathtubs out, turned them into just walk-in showers, which are cool, but people have kids, and guess what? If they bring kids or they lose their home in a fire or flood, guess what they're going to want to do? The kids are going to want to take baths, and that is the grounds for termination of somebody not wanting to rent your place. So be very, very thoughtful on that. Layout, I talked about that. Location, I talked about that. Numbers. You guys, this is a big one. I only buy a place that I know I can make 1.5 times to 2x long-term rental rates. If not, I skip it. And what I mean by that is I'm diving in and doing a ton of research on the market. I'm going on Airbnb, I'm using Mashvisor, I'm using AirDNA and analyzing what those short-term rental numbers look like. And I'm minusing 20% off the top. So if I have a property that's making $10,000 a month, let's just say in Los Angeles, and if I minus 20% of that, I'll probably be able to make 8,000. If my rent isn't 1.5 to 2x that mortgage, I won't even pay attention to it. And again, I'm not going to understand this until I start to dig through the numbers and actually start to find out how much they're earning, why they're earning them, what type of clients are being there. And I'll go in Airbnb, Mashvisor, AirDNA, and look at every single property that is same and similar to the property that I'm going to buy. And I don't want you guys to get into a situation where you're not able to cover the rent, because keep in mind, you guys paying water, sewer, garbage, gas, electrical. Make sure you cover those things and your CapEx in there as well. Avoid properties that look sexy on Airbnb but can't pull midterm rent. Because I see a lot of people that are converting right now from the Airbnb side, short-term side, and they have these overly themed properties and all these kinds of things, and you just need a place that's comfortable. And that's what's most important, you guys, is if I'm spending $40,000 on making a place look amazing, but I'm only getting 1.5 times rent, is that actually worth it? Or is the ROI worth it there? What I would also be thinking is, if I'm furnishing a place, which typically costs $8 to $15 square foot, am I going to be able to get this money back within the next year? I'm spending for that. I want to be able to recoup my cash relatively pretty quick. Think, does this cover expenses plus cash flow? So don't go overboard, but how can I recoup this income that I'm putting out of pocket? So be very, very thoughtful of that. Number 4, functional furnishings. Bed, sofa, Wi-Fi, desk, blackout curtains, stocked kitchen. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people that have properties that don't have quality stuff, and they don't even actually have all that. Don't overspend on decor. Think about comfort and function rather than like the place looking extravagant. It does need to look good, but you don't need to get crazy on the expenses. So don't overspend on the decor. Think about comfort. So important. And then people will stay for 3+ months. So they want a home, not a hotel. That's where you have to be thinking like an operator, you guys. You have to be thinking like, how am I actually providing something that is going to be like a home, not like a hotel? In fact, I tell my students all the time, go stay in an extended stay hotel or go look at one. Would you want to stay there? 9 out of 10 times they're like, hell no, this is awful. Excuse my language. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here for a day. I definitely wouldn't want to be here for 3 months. So think about that. Like, you guys, super important. People will stay in your place for 3 months or longer. So be very, very thoughtful on that. They want a home, not a hotel. Location, layout, numbers, furnishing. If you nail these 4 things, you guys, you're already ahead of 90% of the operators. I can't tell you guys enough how people just aren't putting their properties together the right way. They're not thinking about like a business, and you have to make sure you do that. Most people think that designer hype is like how to actually build in this, but it's really solving real problems with real people who need a place to stay for months. And most people don't understand that, you guys. We have to think about this deeper than just design. We're actually solving problems. And this is what makes the operators that are doing this at the level that they're doing it like really well, because they're actually doing it at that level. Again, be thoughtful on this stuff, you guys. It's not rocket science. Connect with each other, which I think is so important. Appreciate you guys for being here. If you guys are watching this, make sure to like, subscribe, follow me on here. Hope you guys got something out of this today. If you guys need anything else, reach out to me, connect. Hopefully you're able to gather some more information, watch more things on my YouTube channel. I appreciate you guys for being here. You guys have a good day.
That's it, guys. Thanks for watching. If you want a more detailed, customized strategy for your rental business, head over to www.mtrstrategy.com.